Hey you, and welcome. In this video we will learn about Node.js, and we're going to install it on our computer and start working with it in the CLI. So let's dive right into it. I'm looking at the nodejs.org website. That's the website you will need to go to install the Node.js, and it says it right on the top. Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. What does that mean? It just means that on any operating system, whether it be Windows, Mac, or Linux, you can install Node.js application. And as soon as you install it, it gives you access to a couple of commands in the CLI. One of them would be Node. And when you run Node, it will allow you to run any JavaScript application without having to install anything other than just Node. And that's what we're going to do here. So in order to install Node.js, you can pick either the LTS version or the current version. Of course, recommendation goes towards the LTS. That's the stable version. However, if you want to work with the latest features, if there's a feature that is missing in the stable version you want to work with in the latest version, go right ahead and install the current version. That's okay too. All right, so if you click on that, it will download the package on Mac, I think executable file on Windows, and you just go through the prompts, follow the wizard, and it should just install it for you. There's no complication in the installations. Once that is done, I will head over to my iTerm, or terminal for users that are not using iTerm, or PowerShell or command prompt for other users. So what happened when you installed it? Well, the first thing would be try to run Node-v. It will tell you which version of Node you're using right now. In my case, I'm using 1901. Yours may differ, but the results would be shown in the same way. And then also one more thing you get is npm, which I can do npm-v, space -v by the way, is 8.19.2. All right, so let's differentiate between what is Node and what is npm. First things first, what is Node? So I'm going to clear my command line and just type in Node as is and press enter. And you will notice that we have entered a new terminal inside this terminal, so a new environment, sorry. And what it is just allows you to write JavaScript. So I can do console.log, and as you can see, as I'm typing underneath it, it's giving me output of what would be the result if I just type this and press enter. In this case, console log is a function, it's a log function. If I take away that, and then console is a object which has a log function, warn function, directory function. So it is very useful. It gives me real-time output of what I'm about to get. So if I do parentheses, call this function with hello world message, okay, enter, and there we go. It has returned hello world to me. So that's console logging. And since we're in the console, it just console logs back to me. And undefined just means that you didn't assign this value to any variable, so there's no variable for me to show. What happens if I was to do a variable assignment? So var a equals to 2 plus 3. Undefined because we assigned it, but we didn't output anything. If I was to just say, show me the value of a, in this case, it's 5. Now, if you were to do just simple arithmetic operators, then 2 plus 3 will return 5 as well. So you get the idea. It's just an environment to run JavaScript. We won't be using it like this though. However, we're not going to use Node as is. We will be using it with other technologies like React. When you run the server, it will use Node to host that server locally, so you don't have to really connect to internet. It will just allow you to run an application locally, which is JavaScript based. That's about it. To exit out of this environment, I'll press Control-C. I think you have to press it twice. There we go. And I'll clear out my terminal. Great. Next thing would be npm. What is npm? Now, npm is short for Node Package Manager. And if I go back to my browser, I have the website open here. Let me zoom in a little. Perfect. And this is npmjs.com. Node Package Manager is huge. Every JavaScript package that is created it can be packaged up using Node, and when you package it up, you can publish it for other developers to use. And in this case, npmjs.com is a library that has all different kind of codes, all written in JavaScript, and you can download that for free because it's all open source and you can use it. Now there are a few packages that may be paid, but those are very a small amount. Majority of the amount will be free and open source. So let me show you what I mean. There was one that I used, I think, Parks and Recreation. That's one of the shows. And if you search it up, there's a package called Nope. And all it does is it's a JavaScript library that randomizes strings. Strings are values of the quotes said by this person in one of the shows. And it will just randomize every time. It'll give you one quote said by this person, and you can just use it in your code, and it will give you a code sample. You can also go to GitHub for that code if they have shared it, homepage for that code. You can also see how many times it was downloaded. Is it really popular or not? Any vulnerability you may be looking into, the version. So it's very, very useful. This is just a library of different kind of code that you can use. Let's say you want to build a calculator. I'm pretty sure there's tons of calculators out there. So yeah, there we go. There's tons of these. Let's say the first one, calculator, and you can just install this, and what does it do? You can call the function that is going to give you and give it some arithmetic operations, and it will just do it for you. And there's many different ones that you can work with. So yeah, that's about it. That's NPM. How do we use it? Well, let me show you. For NPM to be used, you have to have a code that is a Node package itself. So Node package uses other packages. And how do you do that? Let me go to CD code and mkdir. I'll say first node app. CD into first node app. And here I'll clear my command line again. And I'll do npm init, which is initializing a npm project. And I'll say -y. If I didn't do -y, it will ask me a bunch of questions that I don't really care about at the moment. So I'll just say -y. That means say yes to every question you'll ask and give me a default project. So pressing enter. All right, at this point, it has written a package.json file for me with the following data. And I'm going to open this in my VS Code. So let's do code dot. That should open my current project in VS Code. Great. Let's zoom in a little. Perfect. And let's open up the package.json. And the package.json is crucial to any Node, a Node application, and that's the entry point for the Node server. So first things first, there's a name for my project. I can change it. It's just a string value. It doesn't really do anything functional. Version that shows up on npm.js.com. If you don't submit it, you can also use this version to release different versions of the application you're building. So it's very useful there. Description, again, just a string value. Main, this is the value where you would tell your package or the Node module what is the entry file after package.json. Should we go to index.js, or is it going to be a index.jsx, tsx? Could be a different file altogether, not going to be index, going to be home.js. So it's just a file that you tell relative path to package.json, and most likely it will be on the same level. Great. Next thing, scripts. We will dive deeper into that later on. Just know that these scripts mean you can run it in CLI and it will do a functional task for you, or run a server most likely, or run some tests. In this case, running script test will echo out no test specified exit 1. So if I was to try this script out right now, I'll go back to my terminal and make sure I'm in my first Node app directory. I'll clear out my CLI. And let's run npm run test. And there we go, error, no test specified. So that's what scripts do, is that you can say npm run and the script name, and whatever script name you provide here, it can do some functional task. We'll talk more about it in later videos. Keywords, not going to talk too much about it. Author, it could be your name. And license just means when you make this project public, in case if you make it public, what is the policy that you go with if somebody was to explore your code? Can they copy paste it? Do they have to pay you royalty for using your code? Or is it free for all, which is the MIT license? All right, we're not going to discuss too much about that. Next thing would be is how can I make my application run in Node using NPM? And simple answer is you just create a new file on the same level, index.js. Perfect. And I'll write a function in there. Main, call it whatever, really, it doesn't really matter. I'll call it main in this case, and it will console log hello world. Perfect. And we'll also call it. So when this index.js is executed, it will call the main function that we have created up top. Saving that, if I go back to package.json, I think I have to specify a module. Oh, sorry. I have to specify the type to a module. And then I can run it using Node server. And underneath scripts, I will create another script called start. Usually all the projects in Node will have at least one start script. So you can specify in the document to say, hey, if you want to run this project, first install all the dependencies, which we're going to talk about in a bit. And second thing would be to run the start command, which will start the server. Start server would mean using node index.js. So I don't even think I needed to do any of this, but let's keep that there for now. All right, save that, and I will go back to my terminal and run a npm run start. There we go, I got hello world. So that's how you create a Node application using npm. We'll talk more about dependencies in the later videos. I'll see you all in the next video.